Kryptonite, Martians, and cape fights. Oh my, it's Gimme Shelter. Up next on the Supergirl After Show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I was way too into the Rolling Stones song and still did not even know the whole title of this episode. I think it's Gimme Shelter from the Storm, but you know me, I just drift off. Because I'm Lacretia, Lyon, guys, and with me today is our new host.
Hi, guys. I'm Carolina Bonetti, and some of you know me from Arrow, and if you don't, hello. It's so pleasurable to meet you all. I'm Carolina Bonetti. And I love this episode. I got choked up at the Lena and Supergirl scenes with, like, the kryptonite, and I knew Mon-El was going to come back around, so I'm excited to talk about all that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about, because I'm a big Karamel fan, as the internet knows. And
Karamel?
Yes.
Oh, is that their name?
Mon-El,
oh
that's
my
her shit
goodness.
name.
That's such a good one. Karamel.
That's why a lot of people hate me on the internet, but whatever. At me, bro.
Because you like the Karamel name?
Yeah.
Do people not like? Is this a debate?
Oh no, people just don't want them as a couple. They're bad people out there. They don't ship Karamel. How do you not ship
them?
Yeah.
He's so cute. They're so cute.
I know. I'm like, I guess we should just talk about them first because we were just talking. So yeah, we'll just, you said you love this episode and you love that. So I'm glad that we're all on the Karamel page.
Boom, right here.
Yeah.
We just fist bumped for those of you listening.
Yeah. And that's the thing is Karamel sort of reunites because he decides to stay there with Supergirl at Imra's insistence. And I like that Imra told him, and she's like, you know what? I don't have your whole heart. And if you come back for me, I'll know that it's real, but it's fine. I like that Imra's an adult.
She's a much bigger person than I am.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I will burn her down. I will tear her fake eyelashes off of her eyeballs. It's going to be a fight. You married me. I'm immature that way. I wouldn't be able. I'd be like, no, you don't get to go back. But because I love Supergirl and Mon-El, I wanted him to go back.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I feel like a lot of us were glad that he decided to stay, and it wasn't like a big shock either, because I had said that, for weeks now, and especially after last week when, obviously it proved that the Blight's not going to happen, even though Pestilence is still around, but...
Yeah. But what I think is interesting, too, is that it was kind of like a callback to the comics, but almost in a reversal of roles. So in the comics, and actually in the animated series, Supergirl leaves the Justice League, and she actually goes to the 31st century to kind of like strike out on her own, out from under Superman's shadow. And it was kind of the same thing here. I felt that Mon-El came back. Instead of going into the future, it was like that one episode where she decides, she makes the big decision of, I'm going to go to the future and see how it goes. And then she just, spoiler alert, stays. And it was kind of like he did the same thing, but opposite.
Yeah, and they do typically draw from the cartoons, because I believe that was Justice League Unlimited,
yes,
right? Yeah, because I was thinking.
But it's also a comic.
Yeah.
There's a whole comic series of, like, Supergirl and the Legionnaires.
Yeah, and that's one of, like, I'm trying to think, was that, who did that one? It's not a Grant Morrison one, because that's usually the only, like, Superman series I like, so I'm not as big into
very
it.
exclusive.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison, okay.
Yeah. But I'm like, who did that one? And chat, I know you guys a lot of times know more about comics than even me now that Lex isn't here. So, yeah, let us know who wrote that one, because maybe we need to go and investigate it. Yeah, do a special segment on it.
Oh, no, I read them. I loved those comics, were my favorite, because I felt it was like the first time that she really got to shine. So I'm kind of hoping that we see more of her abilities now that Mon-El stayed, because what happened in the comics is when she goes, she becomes way more powerful in the future. And people lean on her even more than we've seen on the show. So I hope that because Mon-El stayed and he was like, let's get back to training. Like, yes, I want the little Karamel love story to keep going. But mainly, I want her to become more powerful.
Yeah, literally, I had to take notes because I had to lead this one today, which is not like me. And I wrote, I think we should train. Is that a euphemism? I was like, even in my notes, I write jokes.
Well, that's one way to stay on topic, though.
But yeah, and I loved their cape fight together, like, because I loved when he taught her cape fighting and just how cool that they make it look on the show, because that was always one of the more fun parts of the comics when they use their capes.
Yeah, no, they do such a good job with the VFX. I know Varman VFX does most of the special effects across the CW shows. I wonder if he does them for this one. I haven't taken the time to look it up, but he's phenomenal. He does like the swoosh for the Flash and all of the like magical power, because there's so many of them in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he does them for Supergirl, because they were excellently executed. And if you guys know, tell us.
Yeah, because I know that the fight coordinating on here is almost as good as Arrow, which is James Banford, who directs a lot of the episodes as well. And I believe he sort of trained everybody on this.
The fight coordinating on Arrow last episode was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I like to see how much it stepped up on Supergirl from season 1 before it was handed over to the CW, which I don't know why it was ever on any channel besides the CW. It had to go there. It's just like night and day watching the production quality just change.
Yeah, because they have such good people up there to teach this. Like we say, as everybody's sort of a student of this same sort of fight sequencing. That's why it worked so well when they did the crossover and everything, because everybody's on the same page.
You know what I want? I really want to go to like one of their fight trainings, not when they're actually shooting, but when they just go to the training, so I can like walk out and be like, yeah, I'm so bad. Hey, look at me. I'm a superhero today.
Yeah, that would be totally fun. Yeah.
I would do it. If they had a workshop here where it was like train like a superhero and you got to do all the fight stage choreography, I would do it. Would you guys do it? I want to know, if you were in LA and they had one of those, would you do it?
We actually have, there's a lot of stage combat classes. I
Yeah,
know
no, but I mean the guys that actually do this one.
Yeah. Yeah, James Bamford, you need to teach a class and get your the rest of the stunt coordinators on it.
Yeah.
But Davey Elmer actually answered the question. Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes was written initially by Mark Waid. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's interesting. But yeah, do you have anything to share with us as far as other things that are fun and interesting facts? Yeah.
I do, because I love having fun, just like Supergirl. So if you want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life, we have the podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. So if you want to learn about health and wellness, career, relationships, finances, you name it, make sure you check out Maria's podcast, Conversations with Maria Menounos. All you have to do is go to iTunes and subscribe. It's free. And the biggest detail of all is you have to tell her that we sent you. That's right, the Supergirl After Show panel, because Maria is the bomb.com. And if I could spend an afternoon with her, and you get to in your car, at your house, in the gym, you can listen wherever you like, give her a shout out, subscribe, and let her know that we sent you her way.
Well, cool. And before we switch up to the other couple of the evening, I just wanted to give a shout out here in the chat with a new chatter. Ragu Sitharman says, I don't really like the cape fighting better for the cartoons, not so much for a live action show. Arrow fight scenes are way more better than this show. Sorry, not sorry. And I'm like, I do like when you give a different opinion, because yeah, I like the cape fighting, but you know, I get that maybe it's a little cheesy for some.
Well, here's the thing is Arrow's a lot more of like an in-your-face offensive fighting style. So you're not going to have the same style come from mainly women fighting on this show. It's going to be more like subversive fighting, because you're not going to tackle a 200-pound guy the same way a guy that's also 200 pounds is. You got to use your height and other things to your advantage. They do a great job.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. They do a great job. I'm not comparing them. Different fight styles.
Well, and another thing this show does well is couples, because I was all about Lena and James this episode. It's like, you know, I love Karamel. They've got the cuter couple name, and I haven't really heard one yet for Lena and James. Maybe our friends here in the chat could give a cute ship name for them here.
Like LeJames. Like LeBron, but LeJames.
I like that, yeah.
Jaina. Ooh.
Yeah.
Jaina. And then that throws like a nod at the Wonder Twins, too.
Yeah.
With Jaina and her brother, whatever he was. He always just turned into a bucket of water.
Yeah, wasn't it Zane or something like that?
Yeah, it was Zane.
Because me and my brother used to pretend to be the Wonder Twins.
I used to make my cousin do it with me.
Yeah.
And I'd always make her be the bucket of water. I'm like, no, you're a river now.
Yeah, there was always water. But
I would actually love to see them on Supergirl. She has all these aliens coming in, and the Wonder Twins were aliens. How great would that be? What superheroes or villains do you guys want to see on the show? I want to know.
Yeah, like I feel like the Wonder Twins are better fit for Legends of Tomorrow just because of the tone. Like Supergirl, I wish was more fun sometimes, like Legends. I mean, because it much like the Flash, like they have a lightness that is not existent on Arrow, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But like this season, Supergirl's been pretty dark. I mean, as we saw in this episode, and we'll get to like Rain in a second. But I'm starting with the happy stuff on top.
Yeah,
like Lena and James.
All the happy stuff. I love Lena. The actress is so talented.
Oh yeah.
And that scene between her and Supergirl, she was great. When she turned around and was like, "Hello, I walk into a room, I wake up every day, and there are thousands of things that can kill me." I was like, "Yes, girl, tell her."
Well, and anybody who's watched the show before knows that, you know, there was one reason I watched Smallville and have gotten through 4 seasons. I'm working on continuing, and it was Lex Luthor. I love Michael Rosenbaum's portrayal as Lex Luthor, and I've loved Lena Luthor because, much like on that show, she's kind of right. And then, you know, Supergirl in the last 2 episodes, you know, luckily we sort of came to an understanding at the end, but I like what Lena said to Kara, and we'll get to why I think that's dumb that she still doesn't know later. But yeah, like, Lena is completely right. And as you said, she brought up a very good point. Well, there's stuff that can kill me every day, but you just deal with it. That's part of life, is being vulnerable. And 2, being that it's in Lena's hands, who, you know, at this point had trusted Supergirl and was doing this, you know, to prevent Rain, and they needed to use it. It's like, sorry, Supergirl, sometimes you're wrong.
Here's the thing, to play devil's advocate. Is that, you know, Lena is a Luthor at the end of the day, and she has a quack job family running around behind her. So if Lena has this formula and it's in Lena's lab, that also means that if Lex gets out of jail, guess what? It's in Lex's hands. It's in her crazy mother's hands. It's an endless, infinite line of like supervillains that kind of have access to her on a certain level. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable if I was Supergirl leaving it there. Even if she had the best intentions, it's not in the best place.
Yes and no, because that is the thing, is like, for all intents and purposes, Lillian and Lex are locked away. They are not getting access to this. And I do feel like this is one of Kara's major flaws, is that she is very judgmental, as she was with Mon-El for being a Daxamite. She is with Lena as being a Luthor. There is always that part of her that does judge them and thinks that they... And that's exactly what eventually turns Lex against Clark. And Smallville is because he never trusted him enough, even though Lex was constantly the one, at least in the parts that I've watched.
I don't know.
Lex was doing the right thing.
Smallville, so
yeah, and that's sort of like, and I really would hate to see that storyline repeated over and over. Yeah, because it is a little like we already did that. But it's kind of
what's in the comics as well. Yeah. So they have to pull on the mythos. Like, that's what I love about the DC shows, is they kind of strike out on their own and create a new world with characters, and they meld storylines, but they're always true to the base. Like the base reasoning of all the characters, the like base history, they're always really good about maintaining that integrity. So I kind of like that this is the relationship with Lena, but I do hope that they can fix it.
Well, because the thing is like, that was true for Lex and Clark in the comics, but with Lena Luthor, this is sort of a new territory. And Lena, in a lot of iterations, has always been, you know, portrayed as a good character as opposed to like Lex. And, you know, Smallville was sort of doing a new thing with making them, you know, have a relationship, which did not really exist in the comics. So this really is new.
Lena and Lex Luthor have a relationship in the comic in Smallville?
No, Lex and Clark's relationship is not something from the comics.
That's not real. They meet later on in life. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's like there really isn't precedent for Kara and Lena's relationship other than, say, the Smallville, like, iterations. But as we say, we hope that even though the Wall of Weird exists and this mansion did look a lot like Lex's in the show, that this is different than Smallville. Yeah.
I've never seen Smallville, so I have no idea what his mansion looked like.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, yeah, and let's see what the chat has to say while we're still talking about, you know, we didn't really finish Lena and James' big conversation. So, yeah, I mean, they came to a pretty big understanding in this episode, and, you know, I love how he in the beginning just pulls out his guardian shield like it's part of him now. He's
was
just like
cool.
Supergirl. Yeah.
That was
just
really
rip it
cool.
off.
I like their relationship. I mean, I feel like they're about to hit some bumps in the road because it's getting to just too happy of a place, and we need drama. We just do. I just feel like there's a huge bump in the road coming, and I also feel like he's playing devil's advocate between Kara and Lena, and you can't do that. He should be transparent with both of them, and he should be really honest with Lena because he's her boyfriend.
Yeah, and he is without portraying Kara's confidence in as Supergirl, and that is where he kind of can't be honest, and because that is her choice, and that's why I really do like James in this situation. But I'll save what I think their bump in the road is going to be for predictions. But yeah, like I really liked them in this episode as I did with the last one. They seem to be on a good footing, and I like that they both stood up to Kara.
Yeah, no, that was good to see, and I'm glad that he talked sense into Lena too to just give it a try, because Lena didn't want to. They had an uncomfortable conversation, but at the end of the day, Supergirl did still trust her, and she did thank her and apologize at the end. So I hope that that's a bridge to bridging the gap that is growing between them.
Well, we did see at the very end, though, that Lena tells Kara that she doesn't trust her. I mean, and two, it is with right reason. And I
think she's being a little salty about it, though. Like, she's holding Supergirl, I guess because she said it was her idol, like, but she's holding her to an unbearable, like, mantle. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, Supergirl's still, even though she's an alien, she's still human, so to say.
Yeah, and that's why it does. And again, it's just because it's honestly ignorant at this point that Lena doesn't know that Kara's Supergirl.
I kind of like it because on every other show, it's like, welcome to the secret cave. Guess who this is? We've got superhero number 1 behind the corner.
Well, but it is just like Lena is such a higher intellect. And I mean, when we have like Raisa on Arrow, like, be like, come on, we both know Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow, but I'm not saying anything cool. Like, and that's the thing is like, we kind of feel like it's ingenuine of the show to make Lena so ignorant to this. And that's my only issue is it's like, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, like I like that Lena still was on the fence because yeah, I do feel like Kara was still on the fence as well. She may have, apologized and thanked her, but much like Brainy leaving the nanny cam, I feel like.
Do you think that they'll bridge the gap if Kara tells her that she's Kara Danvers and Supergirl as well?
I think so, and I think that's where they missed the mark in Smallville, and that's why I would prefer that Lena find out at the end of this season.
Do you think that they're grooming Lena to be a supervillain?
I hope not, and I know that most of the chat has been on that same page of like, we don't want to see the same story. Let's keep Lena. I mean, Lena has been known to get down and dirty when she needs to be, but she's never done, the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has really great ethics. That was one thing I absolutely love about her.
Yeah, and that's the thing about her having the kryptonite. It's like, well, she is an ethical person and created it for a simple purpose. Yeah,
there's a lot of people with access to her family who I think it could easily fall into the wrong hands, and it would be like an I'm sorry. That's the other road it could go down, is that she does keep making it, and then some supervillain organization does break into her lab, and they almost go Supergirl, and then it's the I'm sorry moment. You were right. Kind of like to get Lena to actually trust Supergirl and see the other side of that double-edged sword.
Yeah, and that is always a possibility, and I do feel like, getting into predictions territory, I have some ideas of what probably will be a problem there. Okay. But yeah, I'm like, let's talk a little bit about Alex and Ruby. Like, yeah.
First of all, Ruby doesn't look anything like Rain. Like the actor that plays Rain, she looks nothing like her. So I don't understand that casting. I kept like trying to be like, oh, that's her daughter. And I was like, is it?
Well, they have the same face shape, like, and the thing is as you get older, your face will get thinner and stuff. But yeah, like they have the same sort of face shape. I mean, so they do look a little bit of like, and we don't know what Ruby's father looked like either. So
that's true.
I mean, and I really like the little girl that plays Ruby, but
no, I like her. Yeah. But I was like, she doesn't look like her kid. Like I wouldn't look at that lady and think, oh yeah, that's your kid.
Yeah, and what a traumatizing episode. I mean, we didn't even get the scene where she finds out her grandma was dead by her mom.
Yeah,
Thank
this is about to
God.
get
But
worse.
yeah.
Next episode. Dun dun dun.
It's like, oh yeah, your mom, or technically your mom's evil split personality that's an alien, killed your grandma that you never met. But yeah.
What I think is crazy is that they didn't tell her. And I was saying it while we were watching it too. I was like, this is so irresponsible of them. She's not 5. Like, tell her what's going on. It's not going to be an easy conversation. But the way that she found out that her mom was Rain was literally the most traumatizing way to find out that your mom is a supervillain.
Yeah, like when I saw that mask on the ground, I was like, okay, Ruby's just going to look up and see that. And it's going to be really traumatizing. But I was on the side of like, no, I mean, that is a hard enough thing for a kid to deal with. And I'm one of those people that, because I've seen the downside to it, is like, you really should wait, to reveal information to kids.
Someone told you in your life your parent was a supervillain? Do tell.
Well, not in so many words. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like, there is beauty in sheltering your kids from evil for as long as you can. And with a situation like that, and they're trying to fix it before she knows, and that Rain has killed a lot of people, and and that's the thing, is like, that's something that you don't want to just throw at a kid. And I realize, like, obviously she found out anyway, but like,
I literally wrote in my notes, the truth has a way of coming back to haunt you. And I feel like, for me personally, you can only guard kids against things for so long. Eventually you have to let them know what's going on, because you're only going to end up hurting them down the road. It was kind of a parallel to Rain's mom. Her mom made her not do the doodles and covered it up and took things away and punished her instead of talking to her about it. Sometimes you can't protect people from who they are, in the sense that, she wanted to protect her daughter. Well, it's the same turnaround with the granddaughter. Now everybody leaving her in the dark. You can't push something away that's actually happening.
Well, actually, Patricia's wasn't protecting her daughter. That was her actual, guilt in this episode, was that she kicked her out, and she tried to, again, like, maybe
but
being
when she
truthful,
was younger,
but,
she was saying how she wanted to protect her daughter and give her a normal life. So she tried to force her into suppressing everything about her that was her alien side.
Yeah, but in hindsight, no one knew that any of that was even going to manifest into what it is. Drawing these symbols, they had no, like, tangible thing for this. This could have been, like, a lot of things, as, like, acting out with a kid. And as she said, she went about it the wrong way by, like, punishing. And that's not what they're doing with Ruby. They're actually being very caring. And
I think they are punishing her in a way, though, because when someone repeatedly asks you for information, she's 12. That's the other thing. She's not 5. She's not 8. This isn't something she's going to forget when she's older. She's repeatedly asked the adults to be truthful with her. How can you have trust going into your teenage years if everyone who's closest to you lied to you?
yeah, well, that's called being a child. Like, honestly, like, they lie about, please, if you're a child, spoiler alert, and you're listening to this show, but like Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, your entire childhood is white lies to make things be better.
Oh,
like,
man, listen to that
come
sad
on.
music.
I was like, please don't listen, children.
I don't know. I'm in like Team Ruby camp.
Yeah.
Someone should have told her at least a partial truth.
Yeah.
Instead of completely leaving her in the dark. Like, your mom's really sick right now, and we're working on how to fix her, because right now your mom has a part of her that she can't control.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not, hey, your mom is Rain, but right now your mom is dealing with an illness that takes over her and turns her into something that she can't control. So we're trying to take care of it. You don't have to go into all the details, but at least then it wouldn't have been as shocking if she had heard something.
Yeah, and two, they were kind of saying at least that much your mom's sick, we're trying to make her better, sort of thing, just not the,
People looked her straight in the eye and said, I don't know what it is. That was a flat out lie. I'm just against the lying. I'm against it.
But yeah, when Rain killed her mom, it's like, that was, even Kara was shocked at how dark that was.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I was watching that. I was like, oh, this is about to get really dark.
They didn't bring that character back to not have this sort of be the turning point for the character. And, them trying, her trying to get through to Sam. And it does seem like it's harder and harder to get through to that part now that she's all 3 of the world killers.
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
No.
They're doing 5, right? Because there was 5 in the comics.
No, they just did the 3: Purity, Pestilence, and Rain on this show.
So they're missing 2 of them then. There's still 2 of them out there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is like, I don't know if they're going to keep on going with the World Killer
They
narrative.
established that this was it, that was the only, in the show, they've established in that book that, you saw at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It had only established the 3 world killers in this
I
world.
wasn't sure if they had like alluded that there were more in the future and they were going to come in and finish it. But traditionally there's 5. Dun, dun, dun. They were basically just like a kryptonite research project too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they pretty
Krypton,
I kind of
kryptonite.
hate that we are kind of done with the world killers other than Rain. She's absorbed
they're
them because
so
they were interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, I was like, I
Yeah.
liked Pestilence. I was like, oh, this character's just pure evil. But yeah, and I know that some of the complaints in the chat have been like the villain, like, well, Rain started out really interesting and we're at this point, but it almost seems like a letdown is what everybody seems to be on the same page of. And I'm like, I hate that.
Down. Why do you guys feel let down? What are they saying?
This was up in the top there, so we'll see if anybody has responded. Because yeah, it's just, I know with Supergirl, in Superman stuff, we tend to have like the big explosive villains, and I've kind of thought that Rain has done that in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that Rain was a villain like on par with Supergirl's level of capability, which was fun to watch.
Yeah, and that's why this is interesting, and why we need Kryptonite is vulnerability is interesting. And
Well, I'd also like her to like face other villains where we go through even more strains of Kryptonite, because I know we saw a little bit of it in past seasons, but they could play with so much with the Kryptonite now that Lena can make it in the lab. Like, can she make yellow Kryptonite? Can she make red Kryptonite? Like, I have questions. This could become so interesting.
Yeah, because we've already established those on this show as well, so there is the possibility. And yeah, Billie Jean Girl 24 had said, yeah, the world killers seemed like they were going to be the big bad, like all 3 of them, and they were taken out really quickly. And that was what I thought. Is like, I actually really enjoyed Pestilence.
Well, that's why I was wondering if they were going to bring the other 2 in. Like, are they going to surprise us with them coming back to finish the job? Because they're trying to heal Rain right now. She's not actually cured. So would they bring the other 2 from the future, I wonder?
Well, as far as what's established in this show, like, there was only 3 world killers according to the lore that it was in the book that they were taken.
I know, but
Yeah.
sometimes they surprise us. So I'm just over here hoping.
Yeah, sometimes a human target shows up. But yeah, like, I guess before we talk about Jean and his dad, which was like the last major thing.
Those scenes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that end scene since we keep coming back to the book. And I just call him Chadlow, the cult leader. I love him. But yeah, like, it was his picture and the girl grabs the book. And of course, this is the girl that in the previews you see, meets Guardian. So yeah, I wonder how she's going to help and what, her purpose is that she's taken this book of Rao.
I have so many questions because when she was running out, they were like, let Colville help you. So Colville in the comics is actually from Central City. He's part of the Arrowverse.
Yep.
Yeah, and he creates the Cult of Rao. So was she being held by the Cult of Rao? Are we going to see them come into Supergirl? Is that what's happening
Well,
next?
the Cult of Rao has been in this season, like, and pretty active.
But
like,
what I mean is, like, is that going to be the next arc for the final big bad?
Well, I feel like because he has become an ally to Supergirl because he is obsessed with her, I kind of wonder if maybe he doesn't, because she had gone to him already previously in the season to see.
But I just felt like what they were doing was nefarious. So I was like, are they going down a dark turn? Like, what's happening? Because
well, it is a cult, of course. There is darkness, but yeah, like, at least he is more familiar with the Book of Rao even than Supergirl, and they've used that. And I feel like that was sort of a hint that he will come back into play in a way.
how do you think he's gonna do for the next episode? I'm so fascinated by that like ending clip. It was so good. I was like, oh, there's so much juice there.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, and we'll get into predictions after we talk about John and his dad for a little bit. That was the what did he call it? The Choco coffee?
Oh yeah. Why isn't it called Choco Coffee? That was great.
Yeah, like,
why isn't it called Choco Coffee? I'm
why
actually
mocha?
questioning. Yeah. Why? Where does that even come from? Mocha. I mean, in Spanish, it means a fly.
yeah.
So it didn't come from that.
Well, yeah, and but yeah, it is interesting what they name things and what they mean in so many different languages. I mean, we
I
could go
much
on and on.
prefer the like Martian version. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna have some cocoa coffee over here, choco coffee. I'm into it.
Yeah, and I just love Carl Lumley, and yeah, like him and David Harewood have just such great chemistry as father and son.
Do
And you know, I really like when he has scenes with Cora and Alex as well as their little family, because it is so sad to see his dad deteriorate, and this is a very much grounded storyline here. But yeah, I like that what he wanted to do in this episode was give his dad purpose and make him feel useful, and then they actually did. Yeah, so that was a really good scene, even though it was like painful that he, you know, sort of repeated it. But
you know what I liked the most was the very end where he repeated the choco bit about the coffee and the chocolate. And finally, instead of John telling him, Dad, you already told me that, or you just said that, he's like, no, tell me about it. I got all choked up. That was so nice because that's what his dad needs. He doesn't need to be reminded that he has this disease. He knows.
Yeah.
He's doing the best that he can.
yeah, and it's really great to see the parallels of how this is handled on Supergirl versus like other shows like General Hospital, and how the son is actually doing a really good job and really, you know, helping his dad and like just going along with it as one should. Like, yeah, you know, they really do it so well, and it's because we have two Martian manhunters, like, because Carl Lumley, wasn't he Justice League Unlimited? Sorry, that's my favorite of the cartoons.
It's so good. It's such a great cartoon, and the animation is great too. Yeah, I don't know. I love having two Martian manhunters on the show, and I hope that his dad sticks around and that we get more backstory and history with him and more help out of him too. He was very helpful this episode. I really love that scene where John was having a hard time connecting and Kara sat down with him and was like, hey, how did you get them to let you go? And he turned the whole story around. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and you know how powerful it was when he turned into the White Martian and everything. But, you know, speaking of characters we want to stick around, I think we should just hit up predictions.
Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, sadly, I think that after this season, we probably won't see a lot of Carl Lumley. I just feel like that story's wrapping up. But one character I do hope sticks around and that isn't Mon-El is Sam, because I have been asking for this since this whole season. Her and Alex have such good chemistry, and there is that love with Ruby, and I'm like, I just really want them to save Sam. I love Odette Annabelle, and I know that Rain is evil, but Sam is not, and everybody loves Sam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want Sam fully healed in a relationship with Alex?
Yeah. Well, because it's just like, come on. We already got rid of Maggie. No.
This is true.
Yeah.
You know, I really would actually like to see Brainiac come back next season.
Yeah, like Brainy is fun. Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen this season at all, but it would be so nice to have Brainy in the mix and have them face off against Brainiacs, because it's like a whole colony of Brainiacs, and Brainy in the future in the comics, it's super complicated. He explains how he's like this division of this one, and he turned out this way because of X, Y, and Z. It'd be really cool to see that brought down to earth.
Yeah, because this is Brainiac 5 in this show, but like it would be fun. I mean, I keep mentioning Smallville. We should make that a drinking game like the Constantine one. But yeah, like I want to see James Marsters come back as Brainiac, and we have seen, because Laura Vanderwood, who was Supergirl, was like Indigo, and you know, Erica Durant's Lois Lane is now Kara's mother. And so
Wonder Woman is the president.
Yeah.
Linda Carter.
And she also appeared on Smallville. So we're seeing a lot of that. So yeah, if we do get more Brainiacs, I mean, come on, we got to get James Marsters back as his Brainiac.
To see like a whole arc of that. Now that we've had a taste of the Legionnaires, like I hope that they kind of play around with more of the mythos in the future and bring it in. I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do with the Cult of Rao. I'm saying it right? Rao?
Yeah.
Rao. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I do feel like, I mean, that little bit at the end of the episode probably is that they, you know, may consult them again to see how to defeat Rain, since, I mean, we do have the kryptonite, but, and we do have her locked up now, but there's only, I mean, so
But
much
do you
they can
think
do.
Rao's going to help or get in the way more?
I would think that this is more help. I feel like they don't want Rain either.
No, they don't.
They're a Supergirl cult.
But it makes me, I don't know, it just makes me double think it, because a lot of times in these shows, they like to introduce somebody and then pull a 180 on you. And that little girl was running away from them, and then we see her with the Guardian. So why is she running from the Cult of Rao?
Yeah,
Or was she even with the Cult of Rao, or is it posers pretending to be?
yeah. I mean, all we know is that she took the Book of Rao, and what that can mean. I mean, and I know from Evil Dead that these books can be very dangerous. But
All right, those are my predictions. What are they saying in the chat?
yeah, I like Dream to Inspire says James Marsters for Zor-El. I like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh wow,
that's a good one.
Yeah. Although I still wish he would be Brainiac. But yeah. And although they have mentioned like being with Krypton, then we might not be able to get any more Brainiacs than Brainy 5. But we could stick with
Yeah,
Brainy
but
5.
Krypton's a completely
Yeah.
different network. It's not part of the CW mythos.
Yeah, I mean, true. But that, how DC doesn't like to share. So they've always had a
true.
problem.
All right.
But yeah, and I know that the chat has been talking about this, and we can't not say anything. Margot Kidder, best known for being Lois Lane, died today, and and that's really sad. So yeah, thank you guys for mentioning that. Margot, was a great pioneer in the Supergirl world, and again, appeared on Smallville. But yeah, where can they keep up the conversation with you, Carolina?
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter at Carolina Bonetti and on Instagram at LenaBean113. I'm also here on Thursdays on Arrow.
All right, guys, since I'm Lacretia Lyon, you can always find me at LaCretiaLyon anywhere on the internet, since there is only one. And listen to my podcast, Mrs. Brightside. It can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. And I did get Lex Michael for this week, so that episode will come out tomorrow, guys. And I am still doing the Red Room. Same thing. It'll be found on all those same platforms. New episodes every Thursday. So get your horror TV fix on.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only, do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.